the Board of Trustees welcome reception for me. I am Jamal C. Boyd Sr., for those of you who don't know, and I am the new CEO of the Crossroads Center, and am honored, humbled, and couldn't have the best job in the world right now, because I truly believe that God places you in a space for a season, for a purpose, and for a reason. And I cannot start without saying, first, giving honor and glory to God. Amen. To be the choice and the selection to lead this great agency. And I think it's a ministry, it's not an agency. It's a ministry because of the work that we do and the lives that we touch is so critical to the change that's much needed in the community. And I'll talk a little bit more when it is my turn, but I have the esteemed honor of introducing one of the most well-known, motherly, smart, intelligent, intentional, and dedicated, committed, passionate bosses that I can have, or that we know as Dr. Jeanette Taylor, who is our board chair for the Crossroads Center. So I want to turn it over to her. Please welcome Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Jamal. You know he gets a raise real soon.
I need that.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'm chair of the board, but on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it's really my pleasure to kind of welcome you here tonight and to thank you for coming to help us celebrate this man that we are so glad to have with us. I keep hearing things in the community about what a good choice we've made, which is really good, but when you hear it inside the agency and you have your staff walking up saying, you've made a good choice, you know you're in good business, okay? You know you've done something good. So we're really glad to have Jamal here. I know that there are many leaders here tonight, and so I'm not going to get in trouble trying to name you and saying hi, or you know, because I'm going to forget somebody. The only thing he left out of all of those characteristics he named is that I'm old, and so I forget things, and so I'm not going to get into the thing of I should have identified one person and didn't do it. So we're just going to say welcome. We're glad you're here. We thank you for coming to help us celebrate this occasion. There is one person, though, however, that I feel compelled to recognize, and that is Dr. Walter Smithson. Would you just kind of raise it, let people know who you are? I want to recognize him because he's been critical to the history of the Crossroads Center. Crossroads started out as an alcoholism clinic as a unit within the clinic, the central clinic that Dr. Smithson, who is professor of psychiatry at UC, but also the president and CEO of the Central Clinic Behavioral Services. So he identified and attracted a very dynamic, very intelligent, very energetic woman who expanded the alcoholism clinic to the extent that he began to support and encourage her to spin it off into its own organization. And she did that. So although the clinic started, the alcoholism clinic started in the 50s, in the 1990s, Jackie Butler, who was the founder and director of this new organization, actually started the nonprofit organization and called it the Crossroads Center. So he has been kind of an integral part of our lives. And so I wanted to say thank you for the encouragement.
Thank you.
And I really am so glad you're here. The other thing is, Walter, we want everyone to know that it started as the clinical alcoholism clinic, but we ended up being one of the oldest and most well-respected behavioral health centers in the greater Cincinnati community. The Crossroads Center currently provides residential treatment, medically assisted treatment, outpatient services, methadone maintenance to men, women, and adolescents, servicing daily a population of about 600 people. So Walter, we recognize you this evening and thank you for your encouragement and support. and we hope we've made you proud.
You certainly have.
And we thank you for the, for looking at us and seeing us as we are now, but also knowing that we will continue to significantly grow. So you will see us from birth through development, and we'll just keep right on stepping because we're not going to die. Okay. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do is, although this evening is to welcome the CEO, I really wanted to take some time out to just recognize the staff. I wanted to say to the staff, both the professional staff, the management team, the service staff here, that we really thank you for your services. We really thank you for being so competent and so dedicated to the Crossroads Center, because it's in fact your work that allowed us to attract such a dynamic leader. He didn't have to come in and say, no, I don't know about this place. He came in and got excited about the work that was being done at Crossroads. So I want to give a shout out to you and say thank you for the work that you've done and that you will continue to do with us. And I thank you for the support that you're giving to Mr. Boyd. Okay. I have to call you Mr. Boyd. I just call you Jamahal all the time. So I have to get used to that, okay?
Yeah, we don't have to be formal tonight. It's all right.
Okay. So now, this evening, it is my pleasure to welcome you, and I'm going to introduce Jamal more formally after we hear from Mr. Meekum. Is that okay?
Yes.
You gonna introduce him?
So Bob Meekum is the mayor of Cincinnati relative to our industry. And again, first, thank you, Dr. Smithson. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Dr. Taylor, for what you've done in a divine way to pave the way for me to be successful in this role. But it wasn't just Dr. Taylor, but Bob served as the interim CEO who came in to help find the candidate to fulfill this role. Bob not only was the interim CEO, but Bob has also provided opportunities and opened up conversations and made sure that I had my punch list of people that I needed to know, meet, and get in front of so that my job can be made easier. And again, I could not be more blessed because yes, those conversations would have taken place, those meetings would have eventually taken place, but when you're in week one and Bob says, no, you gotta meet this person today, and it happens, and then that person does what they said that they told Bob and you that they would do, that is amazing for a new leader, because that normally takes a year or more, right, Gene, to take place. So, I want to introduce Bob in that vein, and I've asked Bob to give remarks, but to also tell the story about how divine this all came to be. And I'll set the stage because the history of hiring a CEO takes generally about a year to find a CEO. The search generally takes about a year. This search took 34 days. 34 days. And I'll let Bob tell the story. I don't want to steal his thunder, but again, it's nothing but God when it happens the way that it happened. And again, with what happened after it happened, it's nothing but God. But I want to turn it over to Bob. Bob Meekum.
So my name's Bob Meekum, and I'm retired.
Not really.
And I've been retired. For 3 years I've been retired. And last January I was on a beach in California with my wife when my old colleague who's sitting next to me, Gene Sapati, called while I was on vacation and said, Bob, would you be willing to take a phone call from a great friend, Jeanette Taylor? Jeanette would like to talk to you about something that she and her organization are interested in. So Jeanette and I talked, and she said, Bob, we're looking for a new CEO, and we have about 100 resumes, and we've got a great search committee, and I'm thinking if you could come back from your vacation and work with us maybe 4 to 6 weeks, we could find someone. So came back last of February, and in March, and in April, and in May, and in June, Our search committee talked to a whole lot of people, and we were nowhere. And on a day when our search committee was going to meet with 4 more people, I happened to be at the United Way, sitting next to a woman that I had never met. And I introduced myself, and she introduced herself, and she said, "So what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking for a CEO. We've got to find a CEO for the Crossroads Center." And she said, "Well, wait a minute. Well, hold on just a minute." So she reached in her pocket and gets out her phone and does those things, you know, with the phone, do. And she says, "Okay, I found somebody that I think would be great." And she sent me his resume right there over the table. And I went back to the office and I called him and I said, "So tell me about yourself." And he told me about himself. I immediately called Jeanette and said, "Jeanette, is there any chance in the world that we could have one more person come in this evening?" And she said, "Yes, we can do that." So I called Jamahal back and said, "Can you come in for an interview in an hour and a half?" And he did. He came in, gave his presentation. I walked him to the elevator. I came back into the search committee and said, "You're welcome." Isn't that true? So Jeanette did her magic. Jamahal came into my life. I can go back to my old retiree days. But I must say, I am so happy for Jeanette, thankful to Jean for putting this together. So blessed to have had the chance to meet all of you who work at the Crossroads Center. And most of all, I am so happy for you, Jamahal. You are going to do such wonderful, wonderful things for the Crossroads Center.
Thank you.
And I'm just happy as a clam that I can be a little part of your history. So thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Bob.